And now, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why you see some of the cameras here is an issue that I found quite disturbing on the news yesterday, that Mr. Steubenport reported that our police department is not cooperating with the Gateway School Police. Quite the opposite is true. I'm going to give you just a real brief history of the inception of their police department. When the idea first arose, Chief Cole and I, on more than one occasion, offered our services to the Gateway School Board. We were turned down, said that they didn't need our services, that they had everything organized. And Mary Beth, I saw what you said, and I'll address that now then. At the last, when we had the one intergovernmental meeting that I attended, when I asked some questions, I was yelled at by Mary Beth Cerrucci to the effect that I thought that this meeting's over, they don't want to hear from us. So from that point, we even again approached them to see if they would need any help. Once again, we were turned down. They went to the court system the very first time and was turned down. I don't have no idea why. I worry about the municipality. School directors have to deal with the school board. When it finally did get approved, we thought there would be information shared between their police department and our police department. And I've invited the school board director, vice president, and president, and I see some other members here. When I spoke to them today, let's talk about the fight at the school. When we were called to go to the school, when our officers arrived, there was no fight. It was apparently either settled, quiet, I wasn't there, but according to our chief, when he spoke to our officers, things were quieted down. It was requested by the officers, I assume, or maybe the administration. I don't have the facts on that straight, but they wanted our officers to issue summary offenses. If everybody who's ever been a police officer knows the standard operating procedure, that could not happen. For the simple fact is, our officers didn't see the fight. What they did was requested information. We are waiting for that information, and our officers will do an investigation, and if it's appropriate that they issue summaries, offenses, they will. But right now, it is totally under investigation. But to sit here and say that we're not going to cooperate when you look at Monroe, prior to when Chad was the president, when Mr. McGill and other past presidents were sitting in that seat, the relationship between Gateway School Board and this municipality, it worked well. Now, I don't know what happened. I don't know why this went south. I've asked, and we have requested intergovernmental meetings, and as you heard in my state of the municipality, I want to continue that. There is no reason that we can't work together. But let's just take it one step further. We don't even know, as a police department, our chief, and Doug, you're welcome to come up and please address what we don't know. We don't even know what their authority line is. Their vice president of the school board didn't even realize, as of today, she found out, they can't even issue summary offenses. We don't even know what they're allowed to do or not. That's never been shared with us. Am I not correct, Doug? Please come on up. And you all in the back will have your opportunity to come up and address us, I assure you. But the key being is, I do not want ever it said to our residents, to everybody sitting here, everybody watching TV, that we would not help and assist. Those children are our responsibility even more than yours, because under the law it states, as the mayor, I am to keep the peace, and so is this gentleman. That's the law of the land. We're to protect everybody that lives here, works here or plays here. Doug?
That's correct, Mayor. Obviously, we've never been notified officially, other than what we read in the newspaper, about what kind of jurisdiction that force has. I don't think they know either. I can personally tell you that I have called the Municipal Police Officers Training Commission. I have called the Pennsylvania State Police through the CLEAN system to try to figure out what kind of enforcement powers that they are going to have.
They don't come across.
We don't know that. Obviously, we believe, based on the court order that was published or shown in public, that they have the authority to detain people, carry firearms, and issue summary violations. Are they only allowed to issue summary violations under the Crimes Code, or are they permitted to issue summary violations under the Vehicle Code?
You do not know that, do you?
Nobody knows. I certainly don't know that they are even permitted to have law enforcement sensitive material, because they're not considered a law enforcement agency, at least in my mind, as per the state of Pennsylvania. Certainly, the officers that went there that day, or meaning the day yesterday, actually it was Monday, when they went there in the morning, they were under the impression, as I was, that they were able to issue summary citations, and there was no reason for our officers to be there. The event was over. They had taken the appropriate action of stopping the fight and preventing any other injuries. They had the people detained. They have administrative actions that they can take as a school district, and certainly falsely reported initially that they had 5 days in which to file summary citations. That is not correct. And they have at least at a minimum of 30 days under the Vehicle Code. We probably have 2 years under the Crimes Code in order to issue investigator or issue process. So based on all that, our officers are and have been advised to get the information from the school district, which will include video, reports that were made, any other statements and names of individuals involved, and then we will take the appropriate investigative, appropriate enforcement action. That action may include summary citations. It may include juvenile petitions. That decision will be made by the Monroeville Police Department in conjunction with the District Attorney's Office, as we do for any other crime that happens here in Monroeville. Obviously, this was taken out of proportion. I've told that to news media people that I've talked to. Certainly, as their enforcement powers become at least written in stone, if you want to call it that, or certainly approved by the state, then we will be able to give some type of direction as to what we can or what they can and cannot do, and what we should do as a responding agency.
But the bottom line is, Doug, no matter what happens up there, once we respond, our officers will do whatever is appropriate. I mean, I want to get that out there. There is no issue
Mayor,
with us protecting
there's never been any issue.
Children, teachers, visitors, whoever.
Absolutely, and certainly we'll do that, and certainly that part of that's going to be as this plays itself out. This is an unusual event. I don't know of any other, at least I think it's been said even in the news releases, that there's no other police department or school district police department that of this size that they're talking, meaning greater than 10 officers, being contemplated in Allegheny County. There are other ones in other parts of the state, but I mean, certainly it's something new for us, and we'll work through all that. Nobody wants to endanger anyone here. Certainly, nobody is going to. This call, as I said again, came in as a juvenile problem, not even a fight in progress, and the officers were just there really to find out administratively what needed to be done.
But did I describe appropriately what our officers did?
That's correct.
They did not view, and go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, obviously it was not an on-view crime, and maybe the public doesn't understand that in law enforcement, and even now to the misdemeanor level, there's only certain type of levels of crime that we can have arrest powers. Obviously, felonies we can arrest under probable cause. We don't have to see it on view. But under misdemeanors, and even now, it's been even strengthened more to it has to be filed through the court system instead of an on-view arrest. We can't, unless it's a misdemeanor 1 or above, do an on-view arrest on it. So when we mean by an on-view arrest, we can keep peace, but we're not going to take that person to jail or take that person directly to Schumann or the juvenile system. We're going to release those people. We may detain them for a period of time. But this process and all the process associated with filing the criminal charges is all going to be done later.
But Doug, and I want to get this out as well, shouldn't those retired officers who are the gateway officers, shouldn't they already know this information?
I'm not sure that they should know it, Mayor. I think I really do. I do believe that they don't understand what their level
And that
authority is going
could
to
very
be.
well be.
Because it is an issue that no one at the state level has told me. And not to mean any disrespect from the school district, if they let me know it, I'm not going to believe them until I hear it from the state. And that's not meant that they're lying to us, but you need to have a documentation that this is what is their authority and what their power is. So once we figure that out and get that information, then we'll just have to work together to figure out how to move forward to make this continue for the
But
year.
Doug, I also want you to make a statement that we've had our doors open from day one.
We certainly have. We've been aware of this play. I think some of this has been that they put the cart before the horse here a little bit. Not understanding how long this would take to get into effect, not understanding how long it would take for the Municipal Police Officers Training Commission to give them the authority to attend the training, not how long it would take for the NCIC clean people to give them access to certain information that they have access for. I think that's the case. But again, I don't know because I wasn't part of any of that.
Well,
I could just watch as it
nobody
played out
was.
in the news media.
And you should have been.
It is what it is, and it's not that they didn't take appropriate actions here. As anybody can see by the video, they stopped fight and prevented injuries. They did that appropriately. But the enforcement side of this, and as I was sitting here prior to coming up here, Officer Kandrak, who's our school resource officer, Corporal Kandrak, we were talking. He says, in a lot of cases, we wouldn't do enforcement right away. We'd wait for a week or two anyway till we got all the victims lined up and that type of stuff. That was a cooperation that they did with the
It's called
with the school.
investigation, isn't it?
It's called investigation. So, and that's currently what's going to be taking place here. So obviously, I'm agreeing with the mayor. I rest assured of the public that the Monroeville Police will respond appropriately to these events and make sure that the proper law enforcement.
And I
safety
want
of the
everybody
public
that
is-
listening and here, that is a fact. And I want to end up one other room or two. There is no politics involved in this. This is our children. We have to provide them safety. We have to make sure they have a safe environment. When we're called, we will respond appropriately. And I agree with you, Doug. And soon when we get the stuff back from the state on what they can and cannot do, and I hope that they'll take me up, and there's several of the school directors here, I would like this intergovernmental committee to meet regularly. It's been in existence for almost 15 years or more. Mr. Wilson and I got that started with Mr. McGill and some other school directors many years ago, and it was sad is it has not been a tool that's used, and I think instead of this doing publicly where we have the media and everybody shooting bullets at each other, if this would have been dealt with in the intergovernmental committee and appropriately using your expertise, this would have been a lot smoother. This would never have happened, what is going on today.
I agree with you because obviously I didn't think they expected that this would take as long as it did for them to get the authority that they have or they want to have. So I agree, Mayor, but I can certainly reassure to the public too that we will respond appropriately to these events. And even in this case here, as I said, not being an in-progress event, the fact that we were catching up, it could have even days later. It was just a matter of the evidence was there, the information was there in video, their statements were made that were made to the school police. Follow-up interviews can be done. Obviously, there was more information that was given out after the fact with these YouTube type or these Twitter/Facebook postings that were going out. Well, they came out. I mean, that's how I found out about it. I saw it on Facebook. It was sent to me, and I saw the video, and I says, okay, well, we need to really look at this and double look at this to see if, in fact, it's something more than just a summary offense, which it may very well be. And if it is a misdemeanor or higher offense, then we will, even if it's a summary at this level, but certainly if it's a misdemeanor or above, we'll file the appropriate juvenile petitions and make sure that happens.
Thank you, Doug.
No problem. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, too.
And just to wrap up, and we'll get into the meeting, this won't take long, and then we'll open it up for public comment. But I just want to reassure the public, our department is doing their job every day. As you notice, when I read the crime report from 15 to 16, again, Doug, I just want to say to you and the officers, thank you for the good work that you do. Council, if we'll look at the approval of our